Got the bolts off. We've got two center 13s that go from the tray to the firewall. We're going to loosen those about halfway, keep them in place. Then we've also got on the far end, which is part of this pivot assembly, there's three bolts that are two nuts that hold it down and one bolt. One of those goes through the firewall. Same thing on the far left, this pivot assembly right here that the arm actually attached to. Two nuts on the bottom, one bolt through the end. Those, all three, we will be taking loose or completely off. That's on both the driver's side and the passenger side. And once we get that to where we can start getting some of these arms off, we'll start getting access to where when we're ready to get this wiper arm assembly off, we can just completely come out with it. So let me go ahead and get those going. At this point, as you can see, the basket slash tray is now moving. We've got some play. We can go ahead and pick the arms up, get them off the studs. That way we got some room to work with everything. Like I said, to get these out of here is a little bit more effort. We just want enough room to get the position out. So at this point, we'll go ahead and get the bolts out of the way that we got loosened from earlier. And now what we'll do is we're going to move on to the ones that actually mount the wiper motor to the basket. We got the two on that other end, like I said, the two nuts that are on the arm mount. You got two on this pivot right here where the linkage changes direction. You also got two right here, and then you got the two on the driver's side arm pivot position. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to taking that off, and then we'll jump on to the next step. Now we got all the nuts off. Now we need to start lifting these arm mounts off the studs. Go ahead from the driver's side, passenger side, get them off. Then we can start trying to get them up under the arms. Alright, now on the wiper motor assembly, it's a matter of just picking it up and working it forward. Just keeping up with your linkage, watching where you are. And we got one connector, the main wiper arm motor connector, that we just got a dual stage lock that you've got to press in one way, squeeze the other, and then just work it out. Just take your time and it will come out. I want to go ahead and show you on this lock for a second on this connector, because a lot of people sometimes have problems with the connectors themselves. There's a red lock here. And on that lock, let me zoom in for a moment. This is I call it the primary lock. There's what I always call these two-stage locks. The red portion here will be slid down. Now you can squeeze all day, but you are not going to pull this off until you open this. This is in the open position right now. Once that's open, you can then squeeze the back end here and then take the connector off. Like I said, pay attention to this lock. It's got a raised area on it. That raised area needs to be over to the side. You're just going to push it either with, usually you can't do them by hand. You're going to use a screwdriver or something to push them over. Get them over, squeeze the connector, pull it off. Alright, now, I didn't show you installing the wiper motor assembly. Reason why, it's just the opposite of removal. And I didn't show you installing the cowl panel. Once again, why? Because it's the opposite of removal. Now, one key thing I do want to show you is the reinstalling of the wiper arms. Now, the shafts on these, as well as the arms, are not keyed one way, which means you can physically put it on any way you want. Odds are it's going to be wrong. Now, there's a trick to making sure you get it to where you need it to be. First thing we want to do is we want to get the wiper motor to turn the linkage, to rotate the shafts to its rest position, which is the off position. Now while we're installing it, we may have moved things around. The motor, when you replaced it, may be in a different position temporarily. So what I've learned is the best procedure is go ahead and turn your key on. Go ahead and turn the wipers on. Yes, there are no arms on it. It's not going to hurt it. But we're going to watch, for one, to make sure they work, so we've known we've done that part of the job correctly. And two, we're going to let them cycle a couple times. And once we get done with that, we'll go ahead and turn the switch off. Not the key switch, the wiper arm switch. We're going to turn the wipers off. And when we turn it off, common sense says they're going to return to the rest or off position. So there you have it. You now have the shafts on the linkage where you want them. You want them right in the park position. So with that, being that they're not keyed, we can grab our wiper arms. We can start sitting them on the linkage. Now this is where you do it by eye, because you know they're going to be evenly proportioned. You're going to look at the lower wiper arm and go, okay, let me go, oh, it's 2 inches over here, let me go 2 inches there. Then you're going to put the nut on. You're going to snug it up. You know, you should go all the way down. Just kind of watch it, because as you're snugging, it might move slightly. It might go to a different position as the arm comes out. Just keep in mind where it's at. Tighten it all the way down. And then do your final one. Now the final one, you're basing off of the lower one. Go ahead and lay it in place. Put the arm down on there. Okay, look at it visually. Right there, that looks beautiful. Now at this point, I can work on snuggling it down. Now, you gotta watch these arms. It's not your typical arms that they both come over, you don't have a problem. These will impact each other if you do not have them timed correctly. So, once again, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna turn them on. I'm gonna pay close attention to where the wipers are. Of course, there's not much I can do if they're gonna hit. Turn them on, watch them a few times, spray a little bit, get them going, speed, cut them off, and then we're gonna watch where they are. Should still be roughly where we left them. If they're not, this is where you can actually maneuver them and get them just right where you want them. These arms are going to be, these wiper arms themselves are going to be replaced. The blades are, because they are deteriorated and falling apart. So we've got them keyed right, wipers on right, they're not going to hit. That's an important step right there. And now all we got to do, finish things off, put our trusty little caps on the ends. So there, you've learned how to replace your wiper motor assembly. Alright, we've reached the end of installing that wiper motor assembly on that Chrysler and Dodge minivan. So, hopefully you stayed all the way to the end and you watched the most important part, which is the timing of the wiper blades. That way they do what they're supposed to do instead of coming and making contact or trying to hit the cowl coming down because you did not put it in its rest position. So, I also appreciate you watching these videos. It means a lot to me. Any comments that you might want to leave, questions whatsoever, I'm here to answer them for you. Thumbs up, thumbs down, all's good. Do me a favor though, if you can, subscribe. Subscribe is very important. Number one, it helps grow the channel. We want to be able to do more and more videos, help more and more people, cover more topics. By subscribing, you're going to get notified when new and important things come out. You may have a problem today, but eventually something on your car is going to break. And when it does, maybe I have a video that has already been made for that problem. Maybe I've got something coming out. Either way, subscribe so that way you can always keep and be informed. With that, appreciate you watching my video. Always stay tuned for more.